Hey, man, let's go ahead and talk about it, though. Oxygen and Rebel. Last week, Blaze, now we went with Oxygen, and we ended up being wrong, man. And that's why we ended up losing a point in our prediction standings, obviously, because Red 9 not playing with the roster, at least that week. I think this week he's not going to be playing as well. It's going to be Seitrax, the coach, filling in for him. But let's go ahead and at least get a little bit deeper into these two teams. Let's look at the overall stats, and I'll have you break it down for me because, you know, it's really surprising to see Rebels so close in stats to that of Oxygen.
Yeah, it is, but they are also so close in placements, just one away, Taylor, all right? And they're separated by one win. Now, coming into this league, it was very surprising to see Rebel in this position here. And, you know, even with Oxygen stats, regardless of if Red 9 is there or not, when it comes down to the squad, at this level of gameplay, you need that same core 4. And, you know, their stats are reflective of them not having that core 4, being able to play together throughout the Pro League and get better. They're just doing the best they can with what they got against some top-tier competition. Now, this Rebel squad, they were created with a goal in mind to beat champions, to stick it out throughout the season. And so now this is going to be a series for them to show why they have been together for so long. And yeah. Their stats are close. Rebels have some difficult matchups. And what I was trying to do was that I was just trying to see that the Rebels' remaining matchups, does it get any easier for them? And it doesn't, because they got to play VQ right after they play Oxygen tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah, they definitely don't have an easy schedule, but it could make them stronger. You know, sometimes, you know, just getting out there playing against some of these tough competition, especially getting this close to mid-split playoffs, could in fact make you strong. I hope that's going to be the case. I've wanted a lot more from Rebel, and I think the fans in general, even the Wars, right, they've wanted a lot more from Rebel than we have got. That plus or minus, by the way, was pretty insane. I've never seen the stats go that low, but hey, they can improve it today. Let's get into our picket bands. Take a look at that as the series is starting to get loaded up. We have Training Grounds, Harbor, and Foundation. So for Rebel on Harbor, you know, that's probably one of their better maps that I've seen them play on. So that's going to be a tough one for Oxygen without question. But, you know, Oxygen had a decent showing on Harbor last week, believe it or not. They were up 3-0. And then all of a sudden they started to fall apart. And for me, it was a bit of arrogantness, or at least their arrogance, I think, that got the best of them, because they started humping, they started dancing around when they were up 3-0. And after that, man, they just got destroyed. And I want to see them be a little bit more poised and in control this time around.
I think that's definitely a great call out, because this is a big matchup for both these guys. You got to think about it. When it comes down to relegation, we're relegating 2 teams. Now, these teams, Oxygen, position 11. That's relegation. Rebel, position 10. They're just out of it. If Oxygen wins this matchup, they're going to get themselves out of that relegation position, and they'll be playing in a mid-season split. Okay, let's just set the foundation down for it. All right, Rebel loses this, it's going to be detrimental to that confidence of that team.
Yes.
For them to have to play for that spot in relegation. Now, Rebel has only beaten Team K, so they are in position 12. So they got to beat Team 11 here. They got to. They've lost everybody else.
Hey, brother, I think they have to, and that brings up a good point with our predictions. You know, for me, heading into it, Blaze, I got to go with Rebel. You know, as much as I want to support Oxygen, I got burned last week from them because Red 9 not playing with the roster. If he was there, I think, honestly, they would have a very real shot to beat some talented rosters. You even look at their early performances when Red 9 was there, right? They were taking series off of, you know, E United, you know, some other powerful teams. But with him not being there, I don't know if they have a chance. I've got to go with the safe bet, and that's going to be Rebel here. Blaze, who are you thinking?
For me, I got to go with the team of 4, the squad that was built for this Pro League, that impressed us so much beforehand, and that's going to be Rebel as well. You know, I think that when it comes down to Oxygen, they just got a tall task ahead of them, because to play at the speed in which Rebel plays at, you need to have a lot of reps in with that with the core 4 of your squad, and I don't think they're going to have that in this series.
Fair enough. And chat, what do you think? And you're clearly the smartest out of the bunch, man. You guys are leading the way. It blows my mind that you guys are actually like winning. But hey, collective minds are better than one, I guess. But for you guys, it seems as if I think you're going to go with Rebel. And yes, you will be. You'd be pretty hard pressed to go with Oxygen at this point in time. But you know what? It seems as if whenever we have it all figured out, Blaze, we get smacked in the mouth with the other team winning. So with Oxygen, everybody against them, who knows? They can pull up big. Again, Harbor is a map, even though Rebel ended up picking it. I think they have a decent chance to keep it close as long as they keep their composure and don't start dancing right away. I think that's going to be their demise. But we're heading into training grounds first. Blaze, how you feeling about this one?
Oh man, I'm feeling great about this map. As we know that when it comes down to training grounds, there is a few different strategies you could run out the initial. Whether if you're going to be sending 3 guys over towards overlooking you, or if you're going to be playing more of a defensive base strat of a 2-2, being ready for anything your opponent throws at you. We'll see what happens with both these squads. And as you said, Taylor, you know, don't count Oxygen out. You know, the one thing that Oxygen needs to keep in the back of their mind is this, that regardless of however the rest of the Pro League went the previous 4 weeks, that right now in this series, if you can somehow find a way to beat Rebel, you could move on to the mid-season, to the mid-split playoffs. Yeah. And be getting yourself a piece of that prize money, okay? You're going to be playing in a tournament with a lot of money. And even though you got your ass kicked the other 4 weeks, this matchup is the one that you have to win. That alone 100%. Can make these guys play like E United.
I hope so. I really do, Blaze, because like you said, a lot of money on. Would you rather fight for a chance to secure the bag? And I'm talking about a pretty hefty bag, right? Or do you want to fight for a chance to just be back in Pro League? You know what I'm saying? Like, these two are not equal, all right? At least in my opinion, right? So I want to be trying to secure the bag and earn my money, earn my keep, right? And I think Rebel understands that. But Oxygen too, again, whoever wins this is going to have a pretty good advantage to avoiding the relegation tournament this weekend. So it is going to be a lot of fun. But again, I'm going to go back to Oxygen. They're not playing with Red 9. In place of Red 9 is going to be their coach. It's going to be Seitrax. Now, Seitrax is a great individual. I've had a chance to talk to him from occasion to occasion. And he's got a lot of heart for the game. He really does. And he cares deeply about this roster and deeply about being successful. But as much as you care, it's all about the reps that you got with this roster. And he hasn't been scrimming. I know he's been watching, right? He's been coaching, but has he been scrimming and getting those reps? And if he hasn't, well, he is going to be the weak link in the chain. And off the rip, he is going to drop off. And you can see Rebel, look, they're so aggressive off the start. And I think that's going to be Rebel through and through, Blaze, given the fact that they understand what's up and they are not going to slow down.
And we saw that specifically in this round that they have not. Now, both squads ran a 3-1 to start, but Rebel did not let off that A button, and they pushed all the way through to their opponent's home hill. Now, Oxygen, they gave it up. They backed up. They rotated a few players at the underpass to get their opponent's home hill, and that worked out for them. And you're going to see Dazed finally go down there, not without letting his opponent know what was on his chest there, speaking his last and final words. But nice start here from Rebel. Nice aggression.
Nice start overall. They've got themselves a decent lead, about 60 points. It's going to continue to grow unless Oxygen can fight back. They do have numbers over here on Overlook, and looks as if they're set up to maybe go for that OE. They're just going to leave the neutral as it is, allow Rebel to continue to hold that down. The only risk that you run into is if Rebel does win this big fight, takes down 3 players of Oxygen, it's going to put them in a worse situation than they already are currently in. They're down so many points now, Blaze, that the win condition, once they do get the 2-1, if they get the 2-1, I should say, it's still not going to help them. They're going to be forced to go in for a domination or at least a decap and hold that 2-0 hill count. So this isn't a situation Oxygen needs to be in, and I have no idea why they haven't reacted yet. They need to push. Why are they being so passive?
Well, we see a few of them here at the top Overlook, and the push is coming out. They're working their hardest to get Demon down, and he did take one, but not able to clean it up here. So good push from Oxygen. They need to get the decap at B, and I don't know if they have time to cap it at this moment, but they want to just use their time wisely so they don't have to backtrack. Now, Crack, he's over here on his side of the map doing a great job defending his home hill. Big fight for him. This squad is still getting points across map at C. Player 9 has to win this 1v1. But you see Identivez, he's still there. Now he's going to go down and he's going to get bled out. But hey, he's still locked in, man. Rebel did a good job. Number one, with the early aggression, passing that 150 mark before their opponent. And that came down to getting that 2-to-1 hill set up and communicating, out-rotating them, keeping them off balance, forcing them to have to recap multiple heals to come back into that round. So good job to Rebel.
And yeah, absolutely. Good job, the Rebel. But on the other side for Oxygen, my biggest frustration is they took way too long to initiate action. And once they did, they looked pretty good. They were giving up great fights at each hill. And that was at some points, just big 1v1s or maybe even 1v2, but they were handling their business. But the fact is it took them way too long to initiate that push. And by the time they did, it was all desperation pushes and just desperation attempts. I want to see them get into action a lot quicker. They have the talent, they have the potential. I understand they're not playing with Red 9, they're playing with their coach, but they still have 3 members who are incredibly talented. I have been praising Tankk and Aches and Dazed, all throughout, whether it be the Pro League qualifiers where they ended up, or excuse me, the last chance qualifiers as well, where they ended up qualifying, and throughout the Pro League. But we need to see them start to become more confident in their gameplay because they definitely have the talent. They're here for a reason. Off the rip, though, the 2-to-1 is going to go to Rebel, but we do have much more of a competitive fight. Oxygen looks as if they're going to be trying to break out and maybe put the pressure on B.
Yeah, Rebel, they lost their engagement at the Overlook, so they backed up, made sure they could lock in the B hill. Now, Oxygen did win that first team fight across the map, and that's going to get them their opponent's home hill. And so far, put up a great fight. That's going to be Tankk on top of B. He's going to fall. Now, Rebel, they need to make a decision here. Do they double back and get their home hill? And as we can see now that they're going to be able to get that home hill without any problem whatsoever. And with these kills coming out on their opponent's side of the map, if they can get the last one, there you go. Identivez gets it, but there's the last member of Oxygen to take him out. I was going to say, to get that one, they should have no problem getting B, but that hill's going to go over towards Oxygen.
Yeah, Oxygen's going to get it, and they're also going to get their own home hill. So well done. That's going to continue to increase their points, give them the lead, and Rebel's going to have to fight them back. They are going to be a bit split up. Oxygen does have 3 members who's going to be looking to lock down B, but Demon's going to be given one hell of a fight to Aches. That Boltok is going to hurt, but he's going to get crossed out, and that should give a little bit more advantage. And as you do see, Kardia, who tried to make the push on a B, he gets shut down. Player 1 crack, he can't push that in good faith, and the domination's coming in for good faith. Let's see if player 6 can hold it in long enough to get the domination.
Oh, y'all, almost. But now he's in a 1v2, and he cannot win that one. Too much damage already put on him. So, Rebel, they stay alive, they get a heal. It's going to come down to this next team fight, Taylor. Crack will be able to get the decap on B without any issue, so that's good for the Rebel fans. But now, when he cap it, will he have the win condition? He will not. So Rebel got to push on over towards that A hill, and that's a good start.
Great start indeed. Rebel looking to fight back. Still 50 points down. The win condition over to Oxygen. So still a lot of work to be, but man, one by one, Oxygen starts to fall. Aches is looking at a meat shield. Plus he's getting snubbed out by Crackdown Low, and Rebel, they are looking to take this round into their own hands. But a great kill from Seitrax, the coach of this roster, filling in, looking to make some heroic moves, at least picks off one, but was it enough to put Oxygen back in the running? I don't think it was. Sadly, the rest of his teammates are falling down. B is going to be broken, but I fear that it's a little bit too late, and that Rebel 2-to-1 is going to be enough to carry them over.
Yeah, it's going to be enough to carry him over indeed. And that was a great push here in the back moments of this game. It was Oxygen who passed that 150 mark first. And so they just had to really, they could have won off of one. But Rebel, they were winning big fights. They knew the objectives in which they had to acquire, and they got them all.
Oh, disappointing loss indeed. Oxygen had it up until the end, but Rebel able to adapt and overcome and take over that victory speaks volumes about this roster. Look, they've got a lot of experience amongst all 4 of these players, and even though they haven't all been on the same page, Blaze, like that experience is still going to carry over and allow them to adapt. And if Oxygen, a younger team, a team that's just getting their chops or their legs underneath them in terms of Pro League, they still have a lot of adjustments, a lot of learning to do. But hey, for Dazed, he's done learning. Now it's about action, okay? He's going to put something up top, maybe a drop shot torque bow, and he wants this engagement off the rip, and you better hope that your Nashers are shooting true. Maybe even an overlook, fair enough, but still the same thing. there is going to be some head-to-head action, and I can't wait for it.
And speaking of learning, a player who's learned a lot on their new squad has to be Demon. Playing with Identivez, a vet.
Fair enough, yeah.
I've just seen his gameplay improve throughout the season. And, that last round, he picked up a big double kill to win him the round in the late game. So good job to him. The reason why so many of their series go to round 3 is because he makes big plays. He is not fearful of anyone. Just give him the weapon in which he needs, and he will be a workhorse for you. Now, you're going to see him and Crack working together here with Identivez at the U. They're going to get first blood. The second kill is in front of him, but Dazed has some great movements to navigate around. His teammate will be able to trade out, taking out Demon. The flank comes through off the back. Identivez does not have too many moves here. He puts out some good damage, and he's still alive. One good back eight. He could turn his fight back around in his favor, but cannot find it. His opponents did a good job keeping their distance from him as he was trying to build up some momentum.
I felt they kept too much distance, man. I mean, they could have pushed it a lot earlier. Dazed and Aches absolutely could have pinched him, but they took some time. But regardless, though, Blaze, that's 4 down. And I think Oxygen is about to win their first round.
Yeah, nah, that's what it's looking like to me. Oxygen, can they lock it in here? Yes, they will. It's going to be 1 minute and 3 seconds there. But, you go back, you look at that initial, and it's just like, wow, Crack, Identivez, they're getting these downs. The kills are there. But Dazed managed to stay alive, shake it up a bit. His coach traded out Demon. That was the biggest play in the round. You take him out. At that point, Dazed just had to wait from help from Tanks. And from then, they had their opponent staggered enough for them to easily have a team push to close it out.
And Rebel better take this roster seriously. I understand, they might be below you in standings, but as you mentioned, Blaze, over and over again, they're close. They're very close. And again, this round, or this series in general, not even just this round, but this series means so much to both of these rosters. We'll go into round number 2 in terms of the Torque. Still last round of the first half. And off the rip, that quick pick from Dazed. No fear at all. And he gets away. That's a big loss from Rebel.
Yeah, that is a big loss. But look at Demon. The downs is coming through. Yeah, the torque bow was there, but his teammates had to sacrifice their lives. So now he has to make up for it. He needs to connect with this one. Doesn't even get a hit marker off of that, but he will get a connection. Needs to get his life back. The revving of that bow is going to back up his opponents. They have to respect them. Just a quick blind fire over the cover. That's a free kill. And just with that suppressing fire, his team will win the fight and they get their home hill back.
All right, so the torque bow, it was used good, in a way. I was Demon trying to, Demon gets ran through. I absolutely thought he had that angle, but Seitrax says absolutely not. And that's the second time I think they've gone mano-a-mano only for Seitrax to win. So well done. Again, the coach coming through big, clutching up when it matters most. And I was going to say they got the quick pick with the torque bow, but they still netted about a 20 or 30 point deficit, but they are recovering, and the torque bow was instrumental in that recovery mode. So well done, 2-1. Let's see what Rebel can do to back them up. They're a bit split up, 2v2, but I think based on their positioning, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're going to try and push it on B.
I think you are absolutely right. This smoke is going to be very influential. They get 2 smokes there to blind out Tankk. Gonna have Dazed play this a little bit more aggressive here. Wants to distract the guy at Overlook so his teammates can have a better opportunity defending the B hill. With the Retro Lancer there, Demon is going to take some damage, but he gets to that sweet spot on the cover where he will not be able to get contested, especially with player 6 over there on the other end of the map. Just contesting the Overlook here. So good job there to Rebel for the retake, and let's see if they can hold it.
All right, like you said, retake is there. Scoreline still very close, and man, Tankk is needing to stay up in his spot. He doesn't. He's going to drop. Identivez is going to go ahead and stagger out the deaths, let him bleed out. Now Rebel understands, look, we can have the domination soon, but we have a wall of Oxygen members. Utility is going to be thrown out. Demon creating that space. He's going to get that chip damage and eventually push in for those chunks. It's going to be 1. Aches is also going to fall. Seitrax, the coach, he's going to fall as well and wrap it up. Rebel is going to take this round and lead 3-1, and we're going to be heading into the second half. So what have we seen so far, Blaze? A torque bow has been placed over in Overlook. You can't place anything else there unless you're going to maybe, have it out, but that's not going to take place. So I assume they're going to just get their shocks. But for the boys of Oxygen, what do you think their chances are? You've already seen 4 rounds. Do you think they have it in them to maybe tie it up, bring it back?
I know one thing that, and that's as these rounds progress and they get longer and longer, Rebel gets better. They just have better late game rotations. They do a good job prioritizing which power weapons are going to help them win around in that moment. And then, Demon, he builds momentum, getting a few kills. He feels like he can do anything in a late game. So Oxygen needs to win this initial, get a few early trip caps, or at least contest them, right? To slow Rebel down.
Sure.
Fake the trip cap. Show your opponent that, hey, if you don't come off and defend your home hill right away, there's a possibility we could win the round. You need to show that type of pressure here in the series.
Demon pushes through Tankk. Still, it's a bloodbath, and I'm struggling to figure out who's going to end up ahead. Aches is going to be the last one by himself, and an opportunity to maybe take one more down. He can't. He didn't waste enough time either to get rid of that torque bow. So Identivez going to have that in his hands. He's quickly going to go to Overlook. He understands Oxygen. They're going to be coming back for round 2. But now with that torque bow revving up, as you mentioned constantly, right? As long as it's revving up, you got to respect it. You can't push it. You have to at least keep your head down. And for Identivez, revving it alone is going to force Oxygen to rethink their strategy. And they can't push through this choke point. So Rebel, they're just going to net this lead, and it's going to continue to grow.
And so now Rebel with the Torque Bow defending the E hill. They got 3 players on this side of the map as well. 1 player defending their home hill, but even across map, Demon with the beautiful cross is still helping out his teammates, making it hard for Oxygen to rotate across top Overlook. So at this point, Identivez, he's just gonna continue to try to put out some damage, slow down his opponent, but he needs not waste these torque bows. Oxygen probably doing a good job faking them out, faking some pushes, but you can't fake your way out of this situation. Identivez, he's gonna be able to pick up 2. Couldn't get the 3rd, but Track has no problem hitting the E hill and locking that one in for his team, keeping points. Now, even with the transition, I don't know if they'll get the win condition, but we're about to find out right about...
He hops off?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. He hopped. Right. Well,
you didn't need it.
I guess not. I guess the decap was enough. I think he should have stuck it, at that point, because he's already in no man's land. But at least rotating off, it does allow for them to have the man advantage. It was a 3v2. Now it's going to be a 3v1. And Identivez looking to clutch it up. That's going to be 1 down. Going in for the second. The potential is there, but quickly gone as Seitrax is going to take him out. Oxygen, though, are losing their own home hill. And that's going to be a good read from Rebel. And then, man, Dazed tried to give it a good go. But Kardia, he's going to be living in the spawn of Oxygen. They've got to keep that in the back of their mind. And, well, they're going to try and take him out 2v1, and they do, in fact, win it. And again, that 2v1 in hill count is not going to be enough. They have to get the decap on D.
Well, at least they've kept their side of map under control, right? They had to clear it out. They cleaned house. Now they got enough time on the clock to make a last-minute push. And sometimes these are the best positions you want to be in because everyone feels the pressure here. But you know exactly what play you need to make now. Demon, he's going to get first blood in his team fight. Identivez with a quick wraparound gets the second. And now surely this should be a Rebel win. I don't see Oxygen getting a decap. And player 3 is going to overextend deep in thinking ahead.
Man, yeah, you're right. Player 3, once he rotated over, it was going to be GG from there. But let's just say player 3 doesn't make that rotation, and they decide to park the bus. Dazed had such a good move. He sees the shock being thrown out on those stairs from Identivez, and he knows, look, I can't wait. I have to push this, and he goes for it. If he gets that chunk on Identivez, the shock still blocks that lane. The rest of his teammates can't help him, but it at least puts him up there to be able to get the decap and potentially hold off enough for the rest of the cavalry to come through, the shock to dissipate, and of course that lane to open back up so they can push in. But player 3 making that right move going across was absolutely the right plays, that entrance, if you will. But Dazed just about had a phenomenal play there that could have saved the round if player 3 didn't make the OE. But it is what it is. We have Rebel. They're up 4-1. They're not taking this match lightly at all.
Yeah, when you're in those situations, you gotta firstly, being the first guy in the fight, your goal is just take one out, get the first blood, or take one to the grave, and everybody needs to be trying to trade out their life so you can get down to that maybe final 1v1 and win the round. But a lot of pressure on front spawn players, and sometimes as a front spawn player you run into a wall of lancers, and we just saw that happen to Oxygen, and also a flank coming through from Kardia, definitely disrupting the initial of Oxygen there. And they cannot win this one. So E-Hill goes on over towards Rebel. But now, based off how long the team fight lasted to kick off the round, they're just going to slow down, work bow in hand, and they're going to try to win the second fight.
Yeah, Dazed tried to get that quick pick off the rip, and he's done that before. I thought he was going to be able to do it again, but that Lancer fire ended up dropping him. He wasn't able to backpack the torque bow in time, and therefore Crack is able to put it in his hands, but he's not connecting. He's getting some hit markers, but he still allows Oxygen to... Whoa, Dazed, hold up. There's nothing over there but a Ghost Brother, and Identivez now looking to clutch up, and, well, Tankk will take him down, but Kardia answers right back, and Domination's coming in. Player 9, you just gotta sprint, brother. Oh no, 5-1 victory for Rebel, well done. But from Dazed trying to reach over cover when nothing's there, for Aches not getting the touch at the end. Couple of misplays, and that puts Oxygen in the grave.
Yeah, that is going to put Oxygen in the grave. Rebel was just too strong, too composed. They showed their teamwork and how strong a team of 4 is in this league. But hey, we're heading on over to map number 2. It's going to be Harbor. Folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Pro League Week 5. Starting off with the execution off the rip. Rebel was not holding back, ladies and gentlemen, and that results in a 5-1 victory on Training Grounds on Oxygen's map pick. Harbor will be coming up as the second map. Rebel's map pick, but Blaze, we just kind of watched this, and man, you know, Oxygen, they had a couple of good moments. They really did, and I think a couple of moments they shined, but for the most part, Rebel pretty much handled their business. And I don't know if Rebel understands the importance of this round, Blaze, but I'm gonna be honest with you, they just handled their business, man. That's the only way to put it.
Yeah, and that's a great way to put it there, Taylor. You know, when we look back on this series, the shortest round out the 6 was the one in Oxygen won. They got a lot of kills off the initial. They converted it to a trip cap domination. But throughout the rest of the series, man, Rebel threw a bunch of strategies at them between 3-1s. They sent players off the flank. They prioritized home hill sometimes, and they just kept extending the round. And as these rounds progressed, Rebel got better. They were more consistent, and it just shows their team chemistry shows a lot in their gameplay. And they had no issues whatsoever locking that one up in a 5-1 fashion. Now we're headed over to what I feel like could be Rebel's best map, and that's going to be Harbor.
I think it is their best map without question, but on the other end, I feel it's also Oxygen's best map, at least from what I have seen, okay? 3-0 lead that they had last time in their last Pro League matchup, and I thought, man, they look really good. I think they have a chance here, but again, arrogance got the best of them. They started dancing. They started feeling good, you know, and it's easy to dance when you're on top. And I think, you know, Michael Jordan said it best, right, man? It's easy to trash talk when you're winning. Let's see what you can do when your back is against the wall and you're losing. And, well, Oxygen couldn't do much. They ended up losing after that. And they stayed at 3 overall rounds. So we'll see if maybe they can bring it in tonight. Of course, they're playing with their coach instead of Red 9 of Seitrax. But I will say this, man, for being a coach and maybe not scrimming as much with them, that boy popped off, man. He was going to those 1v1s versus Demon, and he was handling it. 2 times in a row, he was able to get the chunk on Demon. So I think he's actually a decent player.
Hey, as long as he trade out that kill, if that's his opponent, that's ultimately his goal. Say, if I'm dying, I'm taking on with me. And that was actually the round in which they won. So I actually have put down that credit to Dazed and Coach, okay? Because if they didn't pull off some heroics there, it would have been a hot 5-0. But here we go. We're on Harbor. Let's see if Oxygen can bring this one back. Because, folks, if they win this series, they will not get relegated. Okay, there's a strong possibility that they will be playing in the mid-split playoffs, and that is huge. And it only takes 2 maps to get there.
That's right, and I think it'd be huge to win with the coach as well. You know, that would be big moves, but what would that say about Rebel? Demon trying to dance around, but Oxygen looking pretty good. They're going to manage to get the break, and, well, we're going to see player 1. He's not going to waste any time. He's going to get on A, and also they're going to be on B too. They let those players bleed out of Demon and Crack. Well done. That staggers to death and gives them a better chance to get the domination and Tankk. I love that push. Confidence through and through to take down Identivez.
He needs to get one more, though.
He needs one. And Tankk is going to get it. Can he get a third? Hold up a second.
Oh, I love the rap shot. He went wide left, backs up his teammates there.
Okay.
Dazed wins his fight against Kardia, and that's the initial that you need to see out of Oxygen Esports, okay, if you're a fan. Now, let's see if they can do it again. That was their good side, okay? And Tanks, man, he set that round ablaze, him and Dazed. Now, let's see if they can do it back-to-back.
And just an update, by the way, that side station matchup that was taking place, Noble was able to get the victory over Elevate on Training Grounds. Map 1, 5-1 victory. And I know, Blaze, me and you were talking about Noble having a tough day. 2 matches, one off stream, or one in the side station, I should say, and then one, of course, here being on the main station. So if they can get that victory pretty dominantly over the boys of Elevate, who knows? They could come in, maybe take down Hive. That's going to be a pretty hard matchup, and honestly I was kind of conflicted there, but back on board with Oxygen and Rebel. Hey, well done from Oxygen. Like you said, that was on their good side. Let's see what they can do on their bad side. This fight on Winch went well, and off the rip, Demon's going to be hit pretty hard. Crack is also going to go down, but he's still alive. Demon has the chance to get a 2-piece, but not for so long. And man, there you go. Oxygen off to the races again, looking to lock into domination.
Yo, Dazed working so well with Tanks there at the tip on the winch, and then Coach Seitrax, man, he wins a 1v1 up top against Identivez to get his team in this position. That's back-to-back dominations. What the? You love to see it. Hey. Where was this in map number 1?
Well, let me just say this. Hold on. Let me go back to what I've been saying, all right? I'm not going to get too carried away because I went with Oxygen. They were my prediction. Harbor was map number 1 in their previous series last week, and like I said, they were up 3-0. And funny enough, they did it in much the same fashion. Off the rip, the initials were strong. They got the dominations. But once those rounds started getting extended, okay, once we started seeing a bit more mid-game play, late-game play, that's when the indecisiveness started to kick in and they started to struggle. And you mentioned that, Blaze, on Training Grounds, right? When the game started to extend, or the rounds, I should say, started to extend, Rebels started to find a way to adapt and overcome. That's my biggest worry. Oxygen is doing great off the start. They're winning these rounds in blazingly fast, fashion. But how are they going to fare off once these rounds get extended? That's my biggest concern. But hell of a start. They're up 2-0, and that was pretty quick.
They need to, whatever advantage that they get on the secondaries, they need to use it very well, because if they keep winning rounds, Rebel's going to slap that sniper down so fast that, you may miss it if you blink. But we'll worry about it when we get to that point. Demon charges in, but Tanks does not falter. He stays straight up. He hits that shot. He's going to hit another one.
Wow.
3 kills acquired there. Tanks, man, he stood in the face of danger, and he hit the biggest shot there in the round, and that's all 4 members down on the side of Rebel. You don't even need to clean up that kill, but he needs to help his teammate out. Now Demon gets 1. Strip cap is there. The stun came through.
Big kill.
It did not. In the end, what a fantastic round. And Dazed and Tanks, man, they're doing a great job there, as well as Coach, because Coach has a difficult position at the top of the stern.
Oh, 100%. And, he's been pitted against Demon. He's been pitted against Identivez in a couple of times. And seriously, I can't say enough good things about him. I've talked to him. Let me just say this. He takes gears very seriously, and this roster of Oxygen, he wants the best for them. He truly does. And if he can somehow, fill in for this roster as a sub, as a coach, and guide his troops, if you will, to get a victory, even a map win off of these Rebel boys, it's going to mean a lot to me, but also mean a lot to him. We talked about changing up things, and you mentioned that long shot. And I know Demon wants the long shot, okay? He's deadly with it. He's nasty with it. It could be a torque bow, but it looks as if they want it, but maybe not.
That's what it's looking like. But, my question is that when it comes down towards the side of Oxygen, they chose to level up their lower secondary rather than building up top side. Now, we're going to have a difference here in placements, and we will see who can utilize their nades to best use when time comes, because that's what's going to be the offset there. Now, Rebel was scared away from the winch, and they sent most of their resources up top towards third. Good shots by Dazed, but Demon, he knocks down a big one, picks up a big kill there. Now, Crack, revive comes through. Kills are being picked up on the other ends of the map. The 1v1 was 1 down low at B. Tanks will fall, so winch and stern control goes in favor of Rebel. Now, let's see if they can hold this and retake B hill back in a quick fashion. But as we see, they went towards their opponent's home hill, so they will find them some extra time.
All right, so if I'm Oxygen, I'm slowing it down. I'm trying to at least give my troops. That's a great kill. That alleviates a little bit of pressure. We understand that we've lost our home hill. Domination's coming in, but only for a short period of time. We already know Oxygen 3 strong. They're going to be able to push back the Rebel boys, and they're not down by that much, right? 20 or so points. So Oxygen can indeed turned this round back into their favor, and they're off to the races, man. They are going for it 3 strong, but they have to push this appropriately. Any member that they drop off, Rebel was once again going to take the advanced position and keep that pressure up, but it seems as if they're going to prioritize to be pushed. Fair enough. Kardia, he wants them out of this spot.
Yeah, he does, and Kardia wastes no time. He's going to pick up that kill. Ace goes down, and this is actually what I want to see out of Oxygen to really tell me if they can push this series to map number 3, their retake potential, because Rebel's going to get stronger as this round progresses and they get to get locked in and talk about the advantages that we saw. A trip cap domination almost come through, but a big kill across the map comes through for Tankk on his opponent's home hill. Now we see a member, that member being Kardia and Identivez across map on their opponent's home hill. They take out 3, but can Tankk do it? He got 1, but cannot get the double to continue the round. It should be a trip cap, surely, right? Can Coach get there in time? Okay. Oh, did he do enough? Not enough, but great effort.
And Seitrax did exactly what he needed to do. He jumped into the hill, put stats aside, and he tried to give the best shot for the rest of his teammates to come up off of respawn and keep the the round alive. So I got to say, man, well done from him. Now, Rebel, I don't believe they put down that power weapon on Stern like they were wanting to do. I do believe now they can start or continually upgrade, and I think they're going to go ahead and go for that shock. Fair enough, the shock is going to be valuable. And for Oxygen, they're going to go ahead and do the shock. I would assume they might even go ahead and do maybe something up top. So the hammer burst. So they're going to prioritize the fire, right? They want that DPS. It's something that Jacob liked. How do you feel about having the hammer and the retro instead of the shock? Jacob liked it. What about you?
I like it as well. I think that the secondaries put out a lot of firepower, and as I say that DPS is your value as a player, that one stat line, and both those weapons put out a lot of damage. So you can utilize them well, your team will be able to see those benefits. Now, what a beautiful flank from Dazed. He gets that first down. He sets the coach up. He almost had the double there, but Demon comes through. He's going to find a double and make it a triple. As it looked like Coach is about to go off, Demon says, hold up, there's levels to this. Okay, that's 3 down on the side of Oxygen, and Rebel is looking to get their second round.
Well, Demon popped off there without question. He continues to slay out, and Demon has made a decision, right? He's like, I'm not losing this. Like, I don't care what I have to do. If I have to kill everybody on the map of Oxygen, I don't care. I'm going to do it. And it looked like the coach for a moment was going to pop off. And to be fair, he did pop off for a little bit. But of course, Demon, like you mentioned, levels to this. Demon just goes Demon mode, Demon time, baby. And he made it happen. So 3-2, Rebel starting to come back slowly but surely. And this second half seems like Oxygen needs a little bit more work.
All right, well, I'm looking, honestly, I'm looking for Tankk to make some big plays off the initial. And I'm looking for Coach to keep that consistent performance, okay? Because if they can do that, they're in a good spot to push this towards map 3. Oxygen, they are going to be on their bad side to kick this one off. We've seen Dazed deliver some beautiful back A's there on the winch to get them the advantage here the last time that they were on this side. But we'll see what happens in this round. Retro's built up down low, shock grenades built up top. And we'll see what type of impact they're going to play. But Tankk, man, he gets hit with some early nades. And you see that cross from Identivez. Identivez is not getting contested right there. Dazed is going to be the one who should contest Identivez, but they were taking their time pushing across top Stern. So first blood goes in favor of Rebel. They're in a good position to kick off this round.
Yeah, for Tankk, he just got overwhelmed. There was 3 members from Rebel wolf packing around that curve, and they didn't waste any time at all. And speaking of not wasting any time, they're already starting to surround Oxygen. Now, the big thing, though, this round isn't going to end in just 40 seconds like the previous 2. It is going to extend, and Oxygen's going to have a chance to come back into this round, push them back. They're only down about 20 or so points. They've been here before. Now, if they can win this round, they can have a very real chance to taking this map. Being up 4-2 would be huge, but allowing Rebel to tie you up 3-3. I know it sounds generic, but that puts them back into the game, gives them the momentum, and Oxygen probably starts getting into their heads. So they're going to stack up 3 strong. They're going to look to attack top side, lock in this neutral. And if they could do so with player 2 as well being down low, if he can win that 1v1 against player 9, there's a lot of moving pieces here. But if he can do that, who knows? Oxygen could have a quick domination or at least push Rebel back to the point where Oxygen can flip the scoreline. But they got to make this push. They're wasting a lot of time.
Throwing shock.
Yeah, it may sound generic, but that statement has a lot of great value. If they tie this up, it's gonna be 3-3, and they're gonna be back into this series. They found something that works. The neutral hill is up top in the second half, and you see the effort of Oxygen on the retake there. They get obliterated. Rebel is now pressing for the trip cap domination. And like I said before, if Oxygen is gonna win this series, they either have to do one of two things: be flawless off the initial, or have some great retakes against Rebel. And once Rebel gets planted off that back foot, they see whatever you're about to throw at them, and they deliver a great counter. And on Harbor, with that neutral hill being all the way up top there on Stern, you see everything your opponent's doing. So you're preparing 20 seconds before the play actually happens. So it makes it even harder on the retakes. And Oxygen did not have no great retakes on map number 1. They're gonna have to surpass their limits here if they want to make it to the MSP.
And the damage per second is incredibly valuable, but you can see how valuable that shock is for shutting down that ramp section as soon as Oxygen looked to make that push. That shock damaged them up. A couple of the players tried to push through. That was really their only option. They couldn't back off. They knew there just wasn't enough time to do so. Plus, if they were to back up, they would most likely be down, eventually Lancered out, so they had to just go forward. But a well-placed shock has the potential to shut down engagements, shut down pushes. That's exactly what Rebel just did. Torquebo up top. It's going to make this fight that much more interesting and, more importantly, more important overall. And there's no reason why Rebel can't win this Torquebo. They've been winning this top fight consistently, and that's because they've been committing more. And weirdly enough, when more is committed with the Torquebo, Oxygen commits less in terms of manpower to engage. But I don't know what that was all about. Even so, they're trying their best, but they're getting overwhelmed. And again, that's that manpower. That additional man that Rebel sent over was able to overwhelm Oxygen. I have no idea why they only committed 2 people to Stern.
They committed 2 people to Stern for 2 reasons. The third was playing a little bit further back there, trying to give a little pre-fire because they gave up Stern on the top. They were focusing their efforts on Winch. Player 4 went towards mid-map to throw a flash there, but we saw that Identivez and Demon really was able to move around and get the kills in which they needed to ultimately get these objectives. So it was just a bad initial. And Rebel, they capitalized on it. And so now they are exactly where they want to be.
Oh, no.
Ooh, no splash damage whatsoever off of that one. But, hey, I don't blame them for putting those bows on the ground. High percentage chance on coming away with the kills. And they do come away with both. So, bad initial from Oxygen. Rebel capitalizes.
Okay.
Now, Rebel, they need not try to play for too much here. They will be able to get the kill on the home hill. And Tankk make the play to keep his team alive in it.
I will say this, though, man, to Tankk's credit, he plays very well. You can really see fundamentally he's a decent player. You know, you put him with the team, I believe, that can complement his slaying power, and he gets a really good support behind him. Who knows? Tankk, with his mechanical ability, could be a pretty dominant slayer and tremendous. He's already providing tremendous value to Oxygen. I think he could do a little bit more. You put him on a different roster, but even so, this is the roster he's got, and Oxygen has managed to this point to keep it 3-3, but that's, of course, because Rebel has won 3 straight rounds. So they're going to try this push once again. They tried it on the last side. The shock stopped them, but now there's no shock to get in the way. But even so, regardless, the same result. Rebel holding down their own. E is in. Tankk again, though, picks up 1, but this is going to be a tough 1v2. There's just too much space. He's going to get spaced out, taken down, and Rebel's going to take this round 4-3. It's 4 in a row. Rebel leads the way, and Oxygen, you got to get to work. You got to get to work right here, right now.
All right, let's see what Oxygen has up their sleeve, if they have anything up their sleeve at all. This is gonna be a big one for them because they got off to a crazy start in this series. You know, you go back and you look at it. And it was Oxygen getting 3 rounds in a row, straight dominations across the board. But as Rebel figured out a way to just slow down these initials, they've gotten better in the late game. And Oxygen, their retakes aren't really good. And so Rebel, they've got in control of this series so far. And they are 2 rounds away from locking this one in.
Potential final round. Rebel at match point, series point, and an important map, given the fact that if they win this, it pretty much keeps them safe from relegation. We'll be seeing Oxygen fighting for their Pro League spot. Demon off the rip, picks up one. Quickly down, though. Dazed is going to be stunned. He can't get that shot off in time, and Demon's going to come back for more, but big trade. And see, that's the thing. Even though Demon loses his life there, he gets to trade. That allows 4 members to go down, and Rebel, man, they're not going to be able with the 3 players they have to go in for the domination. But again, now they're in the same spot. This has literally been how the initial's been going since the second half. Every single time, Rebel has been having this lead.
And so they win the initial, and then Crack goes back to get their secondary. So he's going to have Flames defending the home hill. They got Torque up top, and you see Kardia connecting with the shots. Oh, I thought he almost got the double, but the pressure is pushing Oxygen back further towards their spawn. Now, it's going to be hard for them to fight their way out of this one, but Kardia knows not to make it easy on them. So he disengages, says, hey, it's an uphill battle for you. We're gonna make you work for it.
That's exactly what they're gonna do, and work for it they will. Oxygen again now in a spot where they're taking their time, trying to figure out a way how they want to make this push possible. But again, by doing so, wasting that time, I shouldn't say wasting, but just waiting a little bit, being extremely cautious, putting Rebel that much more in the lead, and forcing Oxygen to get desperate. This push is here. If Rebel shuts this push down, Blaze, I think it's over.
I think you'll be right. Now you're going to have Seitrax. He's going to be pushing through, getting behind enemy lines, and forcing all these players to have to turn around and worry about him. Now, while he's doing that, his teammates, they have decapped E. You saw some extra help try to come across down low towards the home hill. Player 6 is going to have to just back up, help his teammate in spawn, and have to deal with Seitrax and 8. Now, this just turned into a 3v2, and you see why it's so difficult and why you should probably never fight in your opponent's spawn there.
Sure.
But F-Hill locked in. We'll see if Dazed can hold this off for his teammates to get back in time. That's if they even choose to want to get this, right? Because, you know, they're fighting for the home hill down low, and Rebel's going to get that. So they're going to have 2 hills to their name. They went off 1. Dazed, he has to push forward. This is a big kill for him. The splash damage is there. Wall bounce to dodge a few shots. He hits a big one, but he still needs to keep on going. Luckily for him, his teammate wins the fight at D. 1v1, the secret man comes through.
No.
Identivez working smarter, not harder. That is going to equate to a Rebel victory.
Well, Oxygen gave it their all without question. Look, they've had some struggles. Red Nine's been going through some things, doing his thing over there. And of course, you know, first it was Relics who was having to fill in the official sub. And then once they ran out of that, of course, then the coach had to come through of Seitrax, and you see the end result. I will say this, though, Rebel, good for you. You take the win. Demon, by the way, 21-12, 11 deaths. That man popped off without question, and that puts Rebel that much closer, if not solidified their spot in the mid-split playoffs. It's going to be fun to watch them against the best of the best once again. And honestly, if Rebel went to relegation, I would genuinely be shocked. I think along with several others out there, you just wouldn't expect this 4-stack to be in relegation. But it could happen, and it could have happened. But Oxygen, they're going to be in relegation most likely down there with Team Queso, and they're going to be fighting once again for their Pro League spot. But Blaze, let me say this. I was impressed with the coach. I really was. He stepped it up, and he actually played well. I would like to see him on maybe another team in the future, or I'm going to be paying attention for sure during the relegation tournament.
He definitely can compete. He definitely can. In those first 3 rounds, man, he got some big kills off the initial to help them get up to this 3-0 lead, and he held his own. But, you know, when it came down towards the slaying, Dazed and Tankk, they did the best that they could. They're on the front lines making plays happen. But, hey, in the end, Rebel, they just have more reps. They are a team of 4. They have, you could see their practice in their past experience, in their gameplay, just based off the speed in which they were playing, how well they were able to hold the 2-to-1 hill setups defensively, and then how quick their offensive pushes for dominations came through. So Rebel, they are a well-rounded squad. They definitely deserve to be in the playoffs. They just, you know, they hit an unfortunate start, but they need to find a way to kind of just overcome that hurdle.
And speaking of overcoming hurdles, Oxygen has to find a way to break that 3-round lead. You know, they've had it now in back-to-back weeks And I don't know what it is about them being up 3-0 and the way that they did it in identical ways from this week to last week, being up 3-0 on Harbor only to then lose from that point. So they've got to find a way to break that mental hurdle. But Training Grounds 5-1, Harbor 5-3, and Rebel does take the 2-0 victory. Very well done for them.